Pepsi and Country Companies presents the 52nd annual running of the Illinois High School Association Cross Country Championships. Along the banks of the Illinois River, we're at Detweiler Park in Peoria. Hi again, everyone. Mark Pinsky alongside Lee Hallberg. This is the first of 4 races, the Class A girls, and Lee, beautiful weather. Check out the fall foliage behind us. All the girls ready to roll.
It's ideal. We're going to have an outstanding day.
All right, Elena Christman, the senior from Rushville, she's back from last year. She's your defending champion. Elena, a year ago, ran 12:05 to win it all. She's got to be the girl to beat.
Well, she certainly is the favorite. I'll tell you, there are 8 of last year's top 10 that returned today. We're going to have an outstanding race. Whether or not she can be challenged remains to be seen.
Now, one person who could challenge Elena is Stacy Sullivan, the senior from Petersburg, Porta. She was second a year ago, just behind Elena Christman. She's tough. However, she's been suffering from asthma, has had some problems running this season.
Well, it remains to be seen. In fact, the top 3 girls that return this year have times that rank among the top 10 times of all time in Class A girls cross country. I'm guess in the back of my mind, the question I have is whether or not Stacy Sullivan is the Stacy Sullivan of old. If she is, it's going to be exciting.
How about Heidi Knapp? Heidi Knapp, the junior from Eureka. She came in 3rd last year, so you mentioned 8 of the top 10. Also, 3 of the top 3 are back, including Heidi Knapp.
Yes, I think probably that Heidi has not had as good a year as we might have expected. However, as of late, she is running well. It could develop into a 3-woman race.
A couple other girls to look for: Katie Lebrocki, who was 6th last year, also Jessica Hall, who came in 5th a year ago. Now, in terms of the team competition, Petersburg, Porter, they're tough. They want Amboy this year.
Well, yes, they beat Sandwich. Sandwich is a very good team. Depends on who you talk to here, but I think Porter and Sandwich appear to be the top 2 teams. The real key there, however, may be Stacy Sullivan. If she runs well up front where she has in the past, they may be the team to win it all today. You can't overlook Herscher, however. They were the defending state champions. Scott Stevens does a marvelous job of getting those kids ready each year. They could be a factor as well.
All right, so there you have it. According to Lee, Petersburg, Porter, Sandwich, and Herscher, perhaps the 3 top teams. Other clubs look out for: St. Joe Ogden, Delavan, and my sleeper this year, Rock Island Almond. We're all set for race number 1. We'll take a timeout right now, then come back and tee it up. It's the Class A Girls Cross Country Championships right after this timeout. All right, the Class A girls race is underway. Lee, we talked about some of the favorites going in. How about Petersburg Porter? They're number 1 in the poll. 12th a year ago. They won the Amboy. They had 5 in the top 25.
Well, I think they, as we said earlier, they probably have got to be considered a favorite along with Sandwich. I think one of the characteristics that both of those teams have, they have girls that can run up front, but they've got a real low team split. That is, that pack between number 1 and number 5 runners is under 50 seconds for both teams. I think the key could well be how well Stacy Sullivan performs today for Porter, and as well how well the number 4 and 5 girls run for both of these teams.
Petersburg Porter led by Sullivan and Emily Zimmerman. As for Sandwich, the Lady Indians, they were 3rd last year, led by Coach Bob Paxson. This is their 4th trip in 5 years to the downstate region. They're led by Adrian Rickey, also Kristen Curtin. They had 7 runners in the top 10 at the Sandwich Regional. So here we come into the first turn, and you can see the pack cruising down, and seems like a pretty good start for everybody, Lee.
Well, everybody tries to move a little bit to the right here to establish good position, and I think Marty B spoke well about how maintaining control is so important in this opening 500 yards. I would agree. I use the term composure to describe what I hope my athlete displays in his first 500 yards.
Already you see Elena Christman, the senior from Rushville. She gets out to a good start. She won it last year with a 5:46 pace. She has the early lead. Heidi Knapp close behind. That's what we talked about at the top.
Well, no surprise here. We expected Elena Christman to take it out, and she has done just that. Now Heidi Knapp, with all of her experience at this state meet, is battling right there.
Another team to watch for this year, the Herscher Tigers, coached by Scott Stevens. They're the defending champs. They won state titles in 1991 and 92. They were 4th in states a couple years ago, and they came in 2nd at the Oregon Sectional with 6 runners in the top 30.
Well, you can't count them out. They do have that tradition, that experience within the last 5 to 10 years, and it'll be a little while before we can tell just how well they're running, but we know they'll be there.
Other teams that are bidding for trophies this year, St. Joe Ogden, they won the Paxton Buckley Loda sectional with 5 in the top 31, also won the Patriot Invitational. And then there's the Lady Panthers from Delavan Tremont. They were second at that Paxton sectional, coached by Walter Dare.
Well, you named several teams that have a shot at a trophy. As they passed the half-mile mark, Elena Chrisman came through at about 2:37. She looks very in control, I would say.
2:58, 2:59, 3 minutes, 3:01. Elena Chrisman out of Rushville is your leader.
It looks like Katie Labrocki back about 10 meters in third before the rest of the main group of runners follows her. We're at that point on the course where, for the first time in this opening 3/4 of a mile, the runners have an opportunity to make a move and certainly run unobstructed and try to then position or find a teammate and move up together.
Elena Chrisman with the 4th fastest time in state history a year ago, 12:05. She was 6th a couple years ago and 36th as a freshman, so she continues to get better as her career develops.
Well, just as experience is important for coaches, it is much more so for the athletes who have a chance here to run early on in their careers.
How about the strategy here of Heidi Knapp to stay close with Elena Chrisman?
Well, I've always been an advocate of trying to control the race from behind, and she's letting Elena take the pressure of leading, although Elena is no stranger to this position.
5:37, 5:38, 5:39. As this race continues, a 2-mile run here at Detweiler Park. Right now, Heidi Knapp pulling even with Elena Chrisman.
Well, that pace at the mile is about what I would have expected. It's very close to what they ran last year through the first mile.
Yeah, actually a little bit quicker. Chrisman last year had a 5:46 pace.
Well, they'll certainly have an excellent morning to run, and they're both, neither one ready to back away from really taking it out strong.
Heidi Knapp, the junior from Eureka. She won Amboy, beat Jessica Hall. Also, Stacy Sullivan, she took 2nd at the Patriot Invitational. She also won the Delavan Classic.
We're starting to see a little bit of separation here, Mark. You see Katie LeBrock has moved up a little bit closer now. She's within striking distance, about 5-6 yards off the pace of the leaders. And then we've got a group of 3 young ladies together before there's another 10-yard break.
So right now they head for the turn, and we'll have an idea as far as the team competition is concerned. I know you're good with colors.
Well, I'm going to give it a shot, but it looks to me like Jessica Hall from Delavan, who's got a strong team, is running well in that second group of 3.
Some of the other athletes right now going through the loop, and you can get an idea which team figures to run away with the trophy here. Petersburg, Porta, Sandwich, Herscher, St. Joe Ogden, Delavan Tremont, Wheaton St. Francis. Also look out for Marion Woodstock, the Hurricanes. Tough this year. They were 10th a year ago. All 7 runners are back. And the Pioneers from Rock Island, Allman, they were 3rd at Amboy and 5 in the top 26. And as they come out of the North Loop, we're at 9:23, 9:24, 9:25, 9:26. Elena Chrisman, the senior from Rushville, still has the lead. Heidi Knapp close behind, along with Katie Labrocki. Labrocki, in fact, has now moved into 2nd place. About a 1/4 mile to go. Elena Chrisman, who ran 11:59 at Detweiler last month, in the lead. I might point out that Sue Gibson won the Class A title back-to-back in 92 and 93. She also won it in 1995. Elena Chrisman hoping to be another repeat winner.
You know, she's an outstanding student, ranking among the top 3 students in her class. She's a homecoming queen this year, and I'll tell you, a lot of people may not know this, but she's a Wallflower fan. She was injured at the Illinois State Fair in August at a concert there, but she's obviously recovered well and got about 12 yards on that 2nd place runner, Katie Labrocki.
In fact, she cut her ankle at that state fair, but obviously it's healed since. Undefeated in Class A this year. We come down the stretch, Elena Chrisman in the lead. Heidi Knapp has fallen into 3rd place. Katie Labrocki, the sophomore from Woodstock Marion, is in third place. Labrocki, 13-0 this year. She came in 6th a year ago. You hear the applause right now for Elena Christman. She appears to be getting stronger as this race continues.
She's starting to lift the arms, drive the elbows, what you like to see in that final 300 meters. You know, I talk to kids about that state meet finish. It's a little uphill. You've got little energy left, but tell you what, you got the help of thousands of people who are literally cheering everybody on at this point.
We're at 11:15 right now. The state record set by Becky Garrett, 11:47 out of Sparta in 1990. Elena Christman going to win this easily. In second place, it's Heidi Knapp and Katie Labrocki battling it out. So Elena Christman heading for the home stretch. 11:37 is our time right now. Christman just checked over to take a look at the clock. So Elena Christman, back-to-back titles here for the Class A Girls Championship. 11:59 the time, just slightly off the state record. Elena Christman finishing first. Second will be Katie Labrocki, the sophomore from Woodstock, Marion. In third, it's Heidi Knapp. And then Jessica Hall, the junior from Delavan. Some of the other runners now finishing up.
Mark, the top two runners from Petersburg Porta have finished. Here come the top two young ladies from Sandwich. Number 3 runner from Porta, number 4 runner from Porta, I see.
So here's a look at your top 5 individuals in the girls Class A meet. 5th goes to Lindsay Newland, the senior from Georgetown Ridge Farm. 4th place, Jessica Hall, the junior from Delavan, with a time of 12:25. Heidi Knapp takes 3rd, the junior from Eureka, crossing the finish line at 12:22. Katie Labrocki, who was 6th last year, winds up 2nd this year. The sophomore from Woodstock with a time of 12:17. So Elena Christman is your winner, the senior from Rushville, finishing at 12:14. Back-to-back state titles for Christman. We talked to her once again this year. Was there more pressure this year because you won it a year ago?
I don't think so. I don't even look at it that way. I just go in like it's a whole new year and just run my race.
You know the competition going in, and we talked a little bit in the gym about how you kind of like glance over your shoulder a lot.
That's a bad habit. I do that all the time, but no, I don't even worry too much about the competition. I just worry about running my best race and my best time, and then I know I'll be fine.
So here's a look at your top 5 team scores. Rock Island Alleman winds up 5th. Pittsfield takes 4th. Herscher comes in 3rd. Sandwich, led by Kristen Curtin and Adrian Rickey, takes 2nd place with 123 points. And your winner, Petersburg Porta, with 72. The Blue Jays finished 12th last year. They won Amboy this season. Stacey Sullivan, 4th among the team finishers. Lee Vickroy finishes at 12:34 for 5th. Also Tam Hart, Emily Zimmerman, and Maggie Andrew, a 48-second split. And afterwards, we talked to Coach Jim Brower about winning the Class A Girls State Championship. 3 in the top 10 and 4 in the top 16. I mean, Stacy, Lee, Tam, and Emily had great runs.
Yeah, they, you know, Emily's been running number 1 for us the last 3 or 4 weeks. And as a freshman, to do that with the kind of team she's got is just impressive. You know, she doesn't seem to let anything faze her. She runs well every week, and the other girls, you know, like I said, I think I've always thought they were capable of running like this, but until today, they hadn't done it. So the timing was everything today, I think.
We're coming right back to Detweiler Park in Peoria. Up next, the boys Class A race. Don't touch that dial. We're back right after this. This copyrighted broadcast is presented for the entertainment and non-commercial use of our audience. Any reproduction or other use of this program without the written consent of Sports Channel is strictly prohibited. Another beautiful day here at Detweiler Park in Peoria. You can see the trees and the leaves changing colors. I know in past years, Lee, it's been kind of brutal out here, but this year they expect temperatures to reach about 50 degrees, and as we saw in the Class A girls race, conditions ideal. We expect to see the same thing here for the boys race. As far as the running condition is concerned?
I don't think you could hope for any better conditions than we've got today. I know in the last 6 or 7 years it's been brutal here, but maybe the fans, the coaches, the athletes, and even the media have earned this one.
All right, as far as the boys A is concerned, we'll talk about Robert Hanners off the top, a senior from Tuscola. He finished 3rd a year ago. Hanners is pretty tough.
Well, he's one of 2 returnees from the top 5 that returned this year. I think, however, there are a number of runners, maybe 7 or 8, that we can really think maybe up front.
One of the guys you talked about is Kevin Bailey. He finished 5th last year. He's a senior from Westmont. So Bailey and Hanners perhaps the top 2 in this race.
I think so. We've got some other individuals that we may be able to point out early on in this race, and I think we could see a front group of as many as 10 before it thins out.
One of those individuals that we expect to see towards the front, a senior from Sullivan, Luke Standifer. He's the 3,200-meter track champion.
Well, there are a lot of people in southern Illinois, central Illinois, that consider him to be the favorite as well today.
Other guys that we handicap that should finish at least in the top 5, if not the top 10. Ryan Young, Matt Baum, also Derek and Dirk Miller. Now, as far as the teams are concerned, the favorite right now is Oregon. They want an Amboy.
I agree, and I think they're the consensus favorite. If you talk to coaches around the state and the media people, I think they give the nod to Oregon at this point.
How about McLeansboro? They won the Peoria Woodruff Invitational, which is run right here, so that's a big advantage.
Well, you know, if you look back through last year's results, McLeansboro had 3 young men finish in the top 16 in the 96 meet. If they can find a 4th and 5th runner today, they may be right there challenging Oregon.
Dunlap, also a team that could contend. They were 2nd at Peoria Woodruff.
Well, they run 2nd to Oregon this year a couple of times. I think they're a real threat as well for a trophy.
Other teams that could trophy, Kewanee, the defending champs, also St. Joe Ogden and Breese Mater Dei. The Class A boys race is upcoming. We'll take a commercial timeout, then come back and go to Jerry Katz's starter. Back with more on Sports Channel right after this timeout. The Class A boys are off. I want to also remind everybody that the IHSA has gone high-tech. They're now on the internet. You can get results and information at www.ihsa.org. Also want to thank all the great people here in Peoria. Dick Green, the principal, also Chris Perry, Mike Lawless, and how about Sue Henriksen, the assistant executive director of the IHSA. All these people have been great. It's been a great cross-country event thus far, Lee.
Well, there are hundreds of volunteers who continue to make this the greatest high school state cross-country championship meet in Illinois.
We talked about some of the teams off the top. We mentioned Oregon, McLeansboro, Dunlap, the Boilermakers of Kewanee. Other teams to look for include St. Joe Ogden. They were state champs in 91 and 92. Breese Mater Dei, the Knights, took 2nd at the Trenton Westland Sectional. Maple Park Caneland, also Winnebago.
Well, Breese Mater Dei was 2nd in 96, so they've come in with the tradition. I think they've qualified every year, if I'm not mistaken. And I think Winnebago ran without their top runner last weekend, and I think they may be ready to compete for a top 5 finish as well.
Winnebago led by All-Stater Casey Randall. They were 4th at the Lyle Sectional. Caneland Maple Park won the Lyle Sectional. They had 3 runners finish in the top 20. 6th at Amboy. Again, the favorite here is Oregon. Jared Harvey, Chad Zellers, their top 2 runners. They won the Oregon Sectional, and they were 10th last year.
Well, Steve Accardi from Wheaton St. Francis has taken it out early. Luke Standifer from Sullivan right behind as we approach the half-mile mark.
Steve Accardi, number 477, you see there, the senior from Wheaton St. Francis. He was 2nd at the Lyle Invitational. Luke Standifer, the senior from Sullivan, he's in red. He ran 15:32 to win the Paxton Buckley Lotus Sectional. That was a 7-second victory. We're at 2:19, 2:20, and 2:21 as we come up on the half-mile mark here.
Well, I'll tell you, Accardi and Standifer have taken this thing out real strong at 2:15 at the half mile. It might be a little faster than I would have preferred, but I think maybe they hope they can break this thing open. They probably suspect, as we talked about at the top of this telecast, there may be a group of 7 to 10 runners who battle throughout the course of this entire race, and it doesn't look like it's going to separate yet as we approach the 3/4 mile mark.
And of the 4 races that we'll cover here today, perhaps this is the only race where there is no prohibited favorite.
Well, we returned 3 state champions from 3 of the 4 races, but not in this one. So we're going to crown a new state champion. There are a number of kids, obviously, they're going to battle for this state title. I see Matt Baum back in 3rd. Excuse me, Mark. Now moving up with the top 2 runners.
3:14, 3:15, 3:16 as the runners come through. Ryan Young, meantime, is running 4th. Young wearing 4.58, a junior from Prairie Central with the Hawks. We're at the 1 mile mark right now. 4:51, 4:52, 4:53. Talked about Ryan Young a moment ago. The young man who was 2nd in the Paxton sectional to Luke Standerfer. 18th at the state meet as a freshman. He was 10th last year. That's Ryan Young.
Well, I tell you, this is going to be fun in this North Loop. It looks like Luke Standerfer has got about 7-yard leads on Matt Baum, but I'll tell you, there's another group right behind, not far, none of whom are out of contact.
In terms of Standerfer, how does he look right now with this lead?
I think in control and comfortable, but I certainly would not tell you that he isn't going to receive a challenge within this middle mile as they approach the North Loop.
Matt Baum will come through 2nd. Kevin Bailey also going through the North Loop as well. And now you get a feel for some of the teams here, Lee, as they come through this turn.
Well, I see both Oregon and McLeansboro are running well at this point. As we speak, TJ Zimmerman from Porta has moved up near the front pack. But it looks like Oregon and McLeansboro are running well as we head into the North Loop.
And coming out of the North Loop, it's Luke Standerfer, 8:05, 8:06, 8:07, 8:08, 8:09. Kevin Bailey, meantime, the senior from WESTMONT sectional, running in 2nd. He was 5th last year at the state meet. 15:28 for Kevin Bailey. Bailey is 191. Standerfer still in front.
Okay, Bailey from the Suburban Prairie Conference has moved up into 2nd. I tell you, as so often happens, marking that North Loop, the decision is made by a handful of individuals to make a run at the state title, and 4 of them have done that.
Ryan Young, meantime, is running 4th. The junior from Prairie Central, who was 2nd at the Peoria Woodruff Invitational. He won the Herscher Invite by 26. So right now, 4 people involved here, Lee, for the lead.
Well, they all look strong and all look capable. Just a matter of sheer will at this point. We've passed 1 3/4. But Bailey and Standerfer,
from our vantage
by
point,
Young,
we cannot see Robert Hanners.
No, I tell you, there's a bit of a separation from these top 4 at this point. Probably a good 30 meters, 35 meters.
Standerfer still running in front, and then it's Kevin Bailey in 2nd. 3rd is Ryan Young. He ran 15:54 to win the normal regionals. Ryan Young, 18th as a freshman. He was 10th last year.
Well, I tell you, as I see in that 2nd group, Mark, I see 2 young men from McLeansboro in the distance, white over green. It'll be interesting to see just where the team race is developing.
In the meantime, Derek and Dirk Miller, the seniors from McLeansboro, they're in the 2nd pack right now, running, say, 5, 6, 7 in that area. Dirk Miller, who was 2nd at the Trenton Westland sectional, and Derek Miller won the Trenton sectional, doing 3.1 miles in 16:36. Derek Miller was 12th at states last year. We're at 10:20, 10:21, 10:22, 10:23 here in this race. And our leader still Ryan Young. Ryan Young, a guy who won the Herscher Invitational by 26 seconds. He's your leader right now. Luke Standerfer still running in 2nd. And in 3rd, Kevin Bailey.
Well, Ryan Young just looks so strong right now. He's opened up about a 4-yard lead. His arm carriage is still good. He continues to pick the heel up, drive the elbows.
We talked about Ryan, how he ran here before during the Peoria Woodruff Invitational. How big of an advantage is that?
Oh, I think experience is so important in Illinois cross country, but particularly the experience one gets from running here at Detweiler Park.
Ryan Young looking good. In fact, he may catch us unless we step on it.
Well, I'm worried from time to time that maybe we need to a little bit, but we've passed the 2 1/4 mile mark.
So Ryan Young in first place right now. Kevin Bailey still second. And Matt Baum, the junior from Dunlap, has dropped off the pace. He's in 4th place all by his lonesome. It looks like Derek and Dirk Miller are running 5 and 6.
And it looks like, as well, T.J. Zimmerman is among that group as they approach.
11:52, 11:53, 11:54 is your time. Our leader still Ryan Young. Young, he's been here before. This is junior year with the Hawks. 18th as a freshman, 10th last year. Ryan Young, your leader, and it appears as though, Lee, he is continuing to stretch this lead open. It's bigger than it was, say, a 1/4 mile ago.
He looks strong. He looks in control here. I think the thing that you hope kids guard against is making a move, making that final surge to the finish a little bit too soon, but he certainly looks like he's well in control of this race as we pass the 2 1/2 mile mark. It looks like the only thing in question now might be 2nd place as well as the team race.
Again, the team race, we talked about Oregon before. Their best state finish, 2nd in 1993. They won Amboy by 81 with 5 runners there in the top 32. Oregon was 10th last year. Their top 2 runners, Jared Harvey, also Chad Zellers, coached by Art Carlson. The race for 2nd place continuing, Kevin Bailey running with Luke Standifer. Our leader right now is Ryan Young. Ryan Young appears to be in control, and I'm not sure he realizes how big his lead is. You don't see him turning around at all.
I think sometimes here that can be a mistake, but I'll tell you, if it were closer, the crowd would probably help him out by all the hundreds of people here that are cheering runners on in the final 200, 300 meters. But he is so efficient, Mark, right now. He is not broken down whatsoever. In fact, he looks as strong now as he did throughout the early going in this race.
Yeah, our leader, Ryan Young. Ryan Young, the junior from Prairie Central. Young was 2nd at the Peoria Woodruff Invitational, and he's about to be named Class A state champion. You hear the crowd pick it up here for Ryan Young. He's got a huge lead right now. Our time is 14:18, 14:19, 14:20. Ryan Young heading for the 2 mile mark, 3 mile mark, I should say. He's at 14:29, 14:30. Ryan Young going to win this easily. Crowd salutes Ryan Young as he heads for the finish line. We still have a big battle now for 2nd place. Ryan Young about to cross the finish line. He's your Class A state champion. A Young, a junior from Prairie Central. 14:55, the unofficial time. In the meantime, in 2nd place now, it's Kevin Bailey, the senior from Westmont. 3rd place, Luke Standifer out of Sullivan. And now we're racing for 4th place. I believe that was Adam Reynolds from Urbana finishing in 4th, huh?
It was, Mark.
So here's a look at your top 5 individuals in the Class A Boys Cross Country Championship race. 5th place goes to Adam Reynolds, the senior from Urbana University, with a time of 15:24. Just 1 second ahead of him, Casey Randall, who was 11th last year, the senior from Winnebago, at 15:23. 3rd place to Luke Standifer, the senior from Sullivan, with a time of 15:15. 2nd place, goes to Kevin Bailey. The Lisle sectional winner, senior from Westmont, winds up at 15:11. And your winner is Ryan Young, the junior from Fairbury Prairie Central, with a time of 14:57. Young 10th last year, 18th as a freshman. We talked to Ryan about his win. I noticed you've improved each year. 10th last year, 18th as a freshman. Now you win the whole deal. I mean, you just had to see that progression build.
I don't know. Like my teammates and I, we ran over the summer. We just kind of pushed each other a lot, but a lot of the credit goes out to those guys. So, I mean, there are a lot of good runners to run with.
How important is it to have teammates to push you along? What's that like?
I think it's very important because, I don't know, they just, if they weren't there, I probably wouldn't have won it because, you know, they were pushing me and I pushed them. So, yeah, it's real important.
And here's a look at your boys' Class A team results. Canelan Maple Park takes 5th place. St. Joseph Ogden comes in 4th. 3rd place with 167 points goes to Dunlap. McLeansboro winds up at 149. They're led by Ben Davenport and Derek Miller. 1st place goes to Oregon with 144 points. And they were led by Chad Zellers, Jared Harvey, Tom Bottoms, Seth Drennan, and Dan Dietrich. A 65-second split. They were 10th a year ago, won Amboy. Their best finish ever came in 1993. They came in 2nd place. We talked to Coach Art Carlson about their first ever state title. What was it like hoisting up that trophy?
Felt fantastic. I mean, you know, I thought the 2nd place one felt pretty light, but this one felt like it was made out of air. I mean, I think I just going up in the air with it. You know, it was just absolutely terrific. The whole day, the whole year has been great. It's really, and we've had some really fine performances. Chad Zellers, Jared Harvey, Tom Bottoms have been our top 3 all season long, and they've just done a super job. And kind of an interesting note, I guess, Dan Dietrich, who was our 5th runner today. Dan was our 4th and 5th man last year. Between sectional and state, he got hit in the kidneys. They took him to the hospital, found out he only had 1 kidney and wasn't even allowed to come down with us last year. And it took him until 3 weeks ago to make the top 7 this year. And he was our 5th man today, including passing about 25 people coming up the hill. So he was one of the big factors in our winning today.
More great racing to come here from Detweiler Park. Up next, we go to the girls' AA race. Stay with us here on Sports Channel. Welcome back to Detweiler Park here in Peoria. And folks may be wondering, Lee, how we get around this race course. This is the deal right here. These guys take care of us, and so far your ride's been pretty smooth, I'm sure.
Well, it's I've had better rides, but I'll tell you, I've never had a better vantage point for this race.
We're all set now for the girls' AA race. And last year, as we take a look at Rebecca Mitchell, she was the favorite, also won it pretty easily last year. She ran 11:30. She's the defending champ, and Rebecca was real strong last year. We expect to have her be the favorite again today.
Well, she's clearly the favorite. I've seen her run several times this year, and she'll like to take it out hard right from the start. She may lead wire to wire or try to today, and I don't think I think it'll be tough to challenge her.
All right, as we talk about some of the challengers, how about Christian Worth, the junior from Bloomington? She's had it pretty tough, unfortunately. Last couple of years, she's been 2nd both times out.
Well, and she was 2nd a year ago. I think she's got to be considered one of the front runners. You know, I think there are others too. Tara Moody of St. Charles, we should expect to see up near the front.
Yeah, Tara Moody, in fact, was 4th a year ago. Other girls to look for today: Jenny Arnold from Libertyville, also Victoria Jackson, the sophomore from Lake Forest. Those 2 girls also pretty tough.
Well, I tell you, there's another young lady that I have watched throughout the year. A young lady from Springfield Sacred Heart, Griffin and Gaffigan.
Yeah.
Could be a front runner as well today.
All right, as far as the AA girls teams are concerned, we start with St. Charles. They're #1 in the state right now, according to the Illinois Prep Top Times and Marty B. They were 2nd 1 year ago. Well,
I tell you, this has the makings of being an outstanding team race from about 5 or 6 schools. You've got 3 schools that have splits, that space between their 1 and 5 runners at 30 seconds or less. And of course, with Palatine being the defending champion coming into this race, and St. Charles right there, it should be an outstanding race.
Now, you mentioned Palatine, Steve Kearns. They've got a dynasty going right now. 6 titles the last 8 years. They're really strong, and Kearns year in, year out has a great group.
Well, he'll have the girls ready today, and I know that one of the things he has always stressed is that packing, that grouping, and they've become somewhat, what York has been to boys cross country, they have become in the last decade that to girls AA cross country.
Some other girls AA teams to look for: Downers Grove North, their first time downstate since 1992. Also York, Sandburg, Mother McCauley, and don't count out Schaumburg.
Well, I agree. I think it's going to be an outstanding race today.
We're all set for the girls AA race as soon as I get my hat back. I'm not wearing this anymore. We're all set to go. Stay with us on Sports Channel. The girls AA race is coming right up. Thanks. Welcome back to Detweiler Park here in Peoria. This is our vantage point from the truck here. The runners are back there. We face them. Now, earlier this year on Schoolyard Jam, Eric Collins took a look at sophomore Rebecca Mitchell and her brilliant season this year, also what she's done last year. Rebecca Mitchell, once again the favorite to win the girls AA race. Here she is on Schoolyard Jam from earlier this season.
Last year, Rebecca Mitchell did the unthinkable. As a freshman, she won every girls cross-country meet she ran, including the state finals. She also won the state in the 1,600-meter track final, holds the 8th grade 1,500-meter national record, went to San Diego to represent the Midwest in the Foot Locker Nationals, where she finished 6th, and her only high school losses last year were running with the guys. One of them was her brother.
We had fitness runs in, like, grade school, and we used to do them, and I was pretty good at fitness runs. And then when my brother got into middle school, he ran a fitness run, and he got like a 6:07 in 6th grade, and I was like, oh man, I got to go out and do that. I want to beat that. Because everyone's like, oh, you're such a fast runner. So I went out in 6th grade and got a 6:06.
I first met her as a middle school kid. She was just hanging around, and I put her to work running from split point to split point on a course for some of the guys, and she was able to beat the guys to their split points, and I said, oh.
I like the fact that it's not always, it's not necessarily skills. You just have to kind of go out there and do it, and it's self-motivation a lot and dedication, and that's what kind of makes, if you don't have that motivation or the dedication, you can't succeed in the sport. So I think it's kind of a self-sport in the fact that you have to want to do it yourself.
Rebecca set out early this season because of some growth-related complications in her knees. Since coming back, she's picked up where she left off last year, except for one single loss, to a close friend, Kristen Worth of Bloomington.
I want to continue to do well, which motivates me even more. I mean, there's stuff beyond high school, and I think that's what you have to look forward to and set long-term goals too. Sorry, this is my little brother. CJ, go away. I'll talk to you in a minute. Go.
I'm on TV again.
Yes, go. I'm sorry.
Now she's going to defend her title at the state cross-country finals at Detweiler Park in Peoria. Probably have to fend off Kristen Worth and Tara Moody of St. Charles, who have been making strides to catch her.
Becca has been training since she was 6. I'd say that would be the key, and she knows how to train, and she knows the terminology and what to expect in training. So if you say, do this, we want to achieve this, she's able to do it to that extent. She also has an amazing mental focus.
Short-term goals is the next meet, and long-term goals is perhaps state, the state meet, or even long-term goals is maybe making an Olympic cut. Woo.
Back at Detweiler Park, Mark Pinsky along with Lee Hallberg. The AA girls race is underway. Our temperature is 44 degrees. It is partly sunny right now and very little wind, if any. And Lee, we talk about some of the strategy getting out of the gate right here. St. Charles in box 13, Palatine in box 14. What's the goal here?
Well, I think you got 2 races developing. That one for the individuals, the individual state title, but then you got the team race that is developing. The fact that those 2 schools are near one another at the starting line, it makes it easy for them to find one another from right out of the starting boxes.
Is there an advantage to starting somewhere in the middle? Would you rather be towards one end or the other?
Oh, I don't think that it makes much difference. I did a little research a few years ago. There have been state champions from literally every starting assignment here, and I think maybe has a tendency to overcoach that, so you try to minimize it.
We talked about some of the key teams. St. Charles, coached by Tom Roderick. They won the East Aurora sectional. They're led, of course, by Tara Moody. St. Charles second last year. They lost to Palatine by 30. Carrie DiPiazza, Lauren Brannon, Carrie Phelps, a freshman. Also Kelly Tetzloff. They're ranked _1 in the state. As for Palatine, Steve Kearns has 5 of his top 7 runners back. Christine Jackson, Christina Strand. They beat Champaign Centennial at Metamore October 11th. Also Holly Fearing, she was 21st last year, and Sharice Lancaster 29th. Palatine very strong again this year.
Well, York returns a veteran group as well, Mark. They haven't run quite as well lately, but they still could be a factor today.
Also Downers Grove North, Elizabeth Tumpach, their lead runner, coached by Bruce Ritter. They won the West Suburban Conference meet and also won the DuPage County meet, beating York by 12 there. As you can see, Rebecca Mitchell has the early lead. No surprise there. We're at 2:07, 2:08, 2:09, and 2:10.
Well, Kristen
Sarah
Worth.
Moody is third. Jenny Arnold, by the way, is sixth. And as you mentioned, Lee, Kristen Worth second right now.
As we approach the half-mile mark, it is 2:27, 2:28 at the half-mile mark.
Rebecca Mitchell, our leader, she's the defending champ. She tied the state record last year. Erin Boland of McHenry in 1990 with that 11:30 time. It was a 5:29 pace, Lee.
Well, I'll tell you, they really are taking it out, which is not a surprise. This is what she likes to do. Moved into fourth now is Ann Gaffigan from Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin.
Also, Lissa Vogley's in the top 7, a junior from Bennett Academy. Vogley wearing 5:21. She was third at the East Aurora sectional, which, as you know, Lee, is a very tough sectional.
Well, I was there a week ago, and you're absolutely right. If you can survive that, you probably are going to have a chance to be competitive for a high place here today.
Ann Gaffigan out of Sacred Heart Springfield is running fourth right now. She won the Decatur sectional. Gaffigan is wearing 5:34. We're at 3:21, 3:22, 3:23.
Ann Gaffigan comes from a family of a great running tradition. Her sister Catherine ran well here for 4 years as a representative from Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin.
We see Rebecca Mitchell in the lead. Tara Moody, meantime, making a move right now on the outside as well. Moody, the junior from St. Charles. She was fourth at the state meet a year ago, running 12:02. And Moody running neck and neck with Rebecca Mitchell here. So Rebecca Mitchell has the lead right here, but only slightly over Tara Moody. 5:11, 5:12, 5:13, 5:14.
Oh, just outstanding at the mile. I'll tell you, you know, this early pace can make some runners, but it breaks most. It certainly is going to make these two, and they are in position to run just an outstanding race, not only place-wise, but time-wise.
Tara Moody won the Big Cat Invitational. She also won the Peoria Notre Dame Invitational. Another one of her wins at Oak Park. By 20 seconds she won there. So Tara Moody from St. Charles, Rebecca Mitchell. As we head into the North Loop, those two are your leaders. Kristen Worth, meantime, has fallen back a little bit.
Well, as we head towards this North Loop, it's still Rebecca Mitchell. Tara Moody right on her shoulder.
All right, so we go into the North Loop. Coming in third right here is Christian Worth, the Bloomington junior. Katie Henning, also of Lincoln Way, coming through. Saw a Bennett runner go through as well, now a Geneseo runner.
5:18, Jenny Arnold has just entered the loop as well from Libertyville.
Kara Leahy from Lockport going through. She's 5:22, fourth at Lincoln Way sectional. About half a mile to go coming out of the North Loop. Still Rebecca Mitchell in the lead, but running right with her is Tara Moody, the junior from St. Charles. Again, Moody fourth at the state meet last year. She ran 12:02. Rebecca Mitchell, last year the defending champ, 11:30 she ran, a 5:29 pace. We're at 9:04, 9:05, 9:06. Dana Mirabali holds the all-time record at 11:16. The record by Mitchell last year tied the AA record. Again, that was set by Aaron Boland of McHenry in 1990. Katie Henning right now running fourth. You see the first two, Rebecca Mitchell and also Tara Moody.
Mark, nothing has changed as far as the places are concerned in the last quarter mile. The only thing that has changed is what you see. There's now a huge break between these two young ladies and the race for third and fourth.
And it looks like Moody wants to make her move, but still Rebecca Mitchell holding her off.
I'll tell you, it's too early. If you want my opinion, whether you want it or not, I'm going to tell you it's still too early from firsthand experience. She's still got a shot at this. What you don't want to do is to make the move too soon. You got to judge the finish line very, very accurately now. But it looks like Rebecca Mitchell is starting to move out a little bit.
Yep, Rebecca Mitchell going for back-to-back state titles here in AA. The sophomore from Geneva, increasing her lead over Tara Moody. And it looks as though Rebecca Mitchell has a shot to go 4 for 4, which Dana Mirabali did a few years back. Rebecca Mitchell increasing her lead as she heads for the home stretch. She is really picking it up a notch here, Lee.
She is. She's maintaining good form, good rhythm. And she's done what we've seen her do so many times before. Just go out strong, hold on, and just challenge everybody to try to run with it. They haven't been able to do it today.
10:53, 10:54, 10:55. Remember, 11:16, the all-time record. Last year, Mitchell did 11:30. That tied the AA record. Here comes Rebecca Mitchell towards the finish line. We're at 11:10, 11:12, 11:14, and unofficially, Rebecca Mitchell with a time of 11:18. Second place goes to Tara Moody. Now the race for third, and here comes Christian Worth, the outstanding junior from Bloomington. In the meantime, fourth place, Katie Henning will finish fourth. Henning, the junior from Lincoln Way. Fifth place, meantime, Lissa Vogley. And in sixth, Jenny Arnold. Now the team race is becoming more and more important. Rebecca Mitchell wins it. Tara Moody second. Christian Worth takes third.
St. Charles, number 2 runner, is finishing. I see 2 from York.
A Schaumburg runner, Sandberg. Another York runner. Here's a Palatine runner.
And St. Charles, 3, 4, and 5 girls finishing together.
So here's how the girls' top 5 finish up in the AA race. Lissa Vogley from Lisle comes in 5th place with a time of 11:49. 4th place goes to Katie Henning, the junior from Lincoln Way, at 11:42. Kristen Worth takes 3rd place. She was second the 2 previous years. Second place to Tara Moody. She was 4th last year. Her time 11:27. And the winner once again is Rebecca Mitchell, the sophomore from Geneva, with a time of 11:19, just 3 seconds off Dana Mirabali's single class record. Last year, Mitchell ran 11:30. This year, 11:19. She improves by 11 seconds. We talked to Rebecca after winning the AA meet.
I thought the race was close. I mean, you seemed like you were really, really pushed hard. I thought Tara and Kristen did a good job, you know, keeping with you.
Oh, they did a wonderful job. I mean, both are great competitors, and I've seen them off the scene of high school. I've seen them in nationwide races and stuff like that, and they're really good competitors. So.
You're getting close to Dana Mirabali's record, just 3 seconds off now.
There's not much you can say. I'd love to get it by the time I'm a senior. I mean, I guess it could be a realistic goal, so we're looking forward to it maybe next year.
So here's how the girls' team results finish up in AA competition. Lincoln Way comes in 5th. Palatine takes 4th with 171 points. 3rd place goes to York High School. Sandberg comes in 2nd, and the winner, St. Charles, by 82 points. St. Charles wound up 2nd last year. They were led by Tara Moody, who was 2nd overall. Terry DiPiazza comes in 12th. Lauren Brannon, 19th among the team results. And two freshmen, Carrie Phelps and Kelly Tetzlaff, also finished among the top 22. A 57-second split for St. Charles. We talked to their head coach, Tom Roderick.
Put this in perspective for me. What's it mean to come down state, win a state title, bring home the trophy to St. Charles?
Each year, the challenge has been a little bit different. We started with this program 9 years ago, and just each year has had some new little traditions and improvements coming along. 4 years ago, we qualified one runner. 3 years ago, we came down and qualified as a team and finished 5th. Last year to get 2nd, and this year to win it. It's just a progression that we've been watching these kids develop and just get stronger all the time. They believe in what we're doing, and they're having a good time doing it.
We're coming right back to Detweiler Park in Peoria. Up next, the boys Class A race. Don't touch that dial. We're back right after this. And we're back at Detweiler Park here in Peoria. Mark Pinsky with the coach, Lee Hallberg, now the AD at Glenbard South. This is our 4th and final race, the boys AA competition. Lee will talk about George Torres off the top as we roll in video from last year's championship. George, the winner a year ago with a time of 14:29. He is awfully strong.
Well, he leads a group of a number of individuals that I think are going to take this race out right from the start. They're going to look for one another, and I think we can expect to see about 3 or 4 up front.
George Torres, the junior from Wheeling, he's the guy to beat, but other contenders, how about Mark Pilja, the senior from Naperville North? He was 4th a year ago.
Well, he's also the defending champion in track in the 3,200 and 1,600-meter runs. I think this could be an outstanding race today. Torres beat Pilja earlier this year in what some would describe as a kicker's race, but it'll be interesting to see what kind of strategy Pilja uses today against Torres.
Also, we'll see Donald Sage towards the front. He's a sophomore from York. He won the Lions Regional by 40 seconds, so Donald Sage you got to look for as well.
Well, and I agree. He brings, of course, with him that group from York, so he's here. He's going to try to give it a shot for the best team finish, as well as maybe challenge these two guys for the state title.
Now, some other individuals to look for. How about Ed Torres? He'll run with his brother George, and I would think for both those guys, it's an advantage not only to have their team here, but to have their brothers here too.
Well, as well, I think that's that second race I spoke of. They've got a concern for the team's chances, but at the same time, they're trying to run for as high a finish individually as they can.
Watch out for Adam Wallace as well. Also, Nick Setta, the kicker from Lockport. He did his chores last night during a football game. Now he's ready to run cross country. We talk about the teams right now, starting out with Lockport. They're the defending champs. They also won the Lincoln Way sectional. You like them?
Well, I do. I think Larry Thompson's got another veteran group. They're back. I think many here would think them the favorite today. They had a 43-second split last week in the sectional, but they're one of a number of teams that appear to be outstanding.
Always outstanding is York, coached by Joe Newton. How about 19 state titles?
Well, just a legend, literally, but 5th a year ago. It's unusual for York not to finish in the top 3, as you know, and I think that probably they're back to try to challenge for a spot among the top 3 again.
Also, Schaumburg is here, 15 trip downstate since 1980. Other teams to watch for: Naperville Central, Wheeling, and Lincoln Way. Throughout the day, we've been talking about the team competition. Basically, how's it work?
Well, the team scoring in this sport is a simple matter of adding up the places of the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 finishers from each school. And in this meet, where we have a lot of young men and women who don't represent schools, we take those places out, and the team scoring is then based upon the finishes of all the team runners that compete.
So the key is stay in your pack and try to get a short split between your runners.
Absolutely. We'll talk more about that as this team race develops.
All right, look out for George Torres. Our 4th and final race upcoming. We'll take a timeout right now, then come back for the boys AA Cross Country Championship here on Sports Channel. Here we go. The boys AA race is underway, and Lee Hallberg, one thing you like about the AA boys is the depth. A lot of good teams here today.
Well, there are. I think it's an exceptional field in terms of the number of schools, the number of teams that have a shot at a high finish. As we said at the top, you've got Lockport, the defending champ, perhaps a prohibitive favorite, but York with their great tradition, and the key for them will be that team split. They're going to have a front runner, of course, in Don Sage, but will they be able to pack up to get the job done? You got Schaumburg with a 41-second split last week. 7 points, however, only ahead of Wheeling, and yet Wheeling returns 3 all-staters from last year. And at the same time, I think I've got to point out Lincoln Way returned 6 kids who ran here a year ago. At the same time, Naperville Central had a 21-second split. They could slip in there as well. You've got Hinsdale Central, Fenton, Pontiac, Salem have all run great team races throughout this season.
Also, Sandburg, a pretty good team as well. We talked about all these teams at the Open. Schaumburg, coached by Jim McNiner, they were 4th at the state meet a couple years ago, 6th last year. They've won 3 straight state titles. Last time was in 1988. Early on, a pack of runners in front, including George Torres, who's 271. Also, Onissimo Greca, the young man, number 61, out of Chicago Kennedy High School. He's been tough all year. Adam Wallace in there as well. He's wearing 414, the young man from Deerfield. Nathan Purcell out of Salem running towards the front of the pack as we're just underway here. George Torres, Mark Pilja, Donald Sage, Onissimo Greca is 61. Greca won the Argo Invitational, also the Blackhawk Stampede, and the Phoenix Invitational. Again, he's 61. You see him on the inside there. We're at 212, 213, 214, and 215. George Torres out of Wheeling right in front with Greca. Again, some of the top teams to look for. York, they won the East Aurora Sectional. Lockport, the defending champs, they were 3rd here a couple years ago. They lost Jason Bialka from a year ago. Naperville Central, coached by George Sear, they were 2nd at the East Aurora Sectional. Wheeling, coached by Mark Saylor. Wheeling really has a good top 3 with George and his brother.
Oh, this is outstanding, Mark. I don't know whether you can see it, depending upon your vantage point, but Lockport Porters have got 3 guys up front. The top 3 from Wheeling are up front. And I'll tell you, not only is the individual race starting to develop, but the team race is developing much earlier than we might have otherwise expected. They are right there. What a great race developing.
Among those in front, 409 is Joseph Marin from Mount Carmel. At the turn, George Torres with his twin brother. So Wheeling right now is running 1 and 2.
The sophomore Don Sage from York has now moved up on the shoulder of George Torres, along with Mark Pilja on the other shoulder.
Sage, you see him in green and white. The sophomore from York. His dad, in fact, ran at Northern Illinois. Mark Pilja now running towards the front. Also, Robert Breed out of Niles North towards the front.
Robert Breed, unable to run in this meet last year due to a strike in his school district, is running very, very well up front among the leaders.
Lee, in terms of this race, are you surprised so many guys are this far in front as we come up on the mile mark?
No, I think I probably shouldn't be. I know we had identified 3 or 4 individuals, but there are obviously others who have gone out in hopes that they can help their team today.
We're at 447, 448, 449, 450. Still George Torres and Mark Pilja. Also up there, Donald Sage. Those are the 3 we talked about at the top.
Yeah, these guys are under control, Mark. They have not gone out recklessly. I mean, what I see here is a group of individuals all posturing and positioning right now to try to break maybe this thing open individually, but I also see the team race developing, and it is up front a little bit earlier than what I've seen in past years.
414 is Adam Wallace, a senior from Deerfield. He was 22nd at the state meet last year. Also took 2nd at the Schaumburg sectional. Wallace having a good run thus far.
Well, as well, I see John Burning from among the top 7 or 8 also as they head into the North Loop.
3 Wheeling runners have already gone through. Now a 4th.
I see 4 Porta kids that have also gone in.
A few
Schaumburg kids are
now
together. York kids have moved up as well and are in position.
All right, here they come out of the North Loop. Your leader is George Torres. Donald Sage running with them. Mark Pilja is 3rd. Adam Wallace running 4th. And how about the team competition, Lee? Awfully close.
Yeah, it is. I think I see 4 teams right now that are battling. You know, individually, I mentioned that the pace at the mile was not particularly fast, or certainly not reckless. But a lot of these guys, this could develop into a kicker's race, and we got some kids with great leg speed.
Juan Ortega also having a good run. The junior from Morton was 28th last year at state. We're at 8:24, 8:25, 8:26. George Torres, along with Donald Sage, running 1-2.
Well, they are battling shoulder to shoulder. They're going to help one another through this last mile, I have no doubt. They're trying to break it open a little bit, and they have opened up about a 10, 12-yard lead over Mark Pilja from Naperville North.
Gareka out of Kennedy running in the top 5, as is Adam Wallace, the Deerfield senior. George Torres leads it right now, but only by a few steps over Donald Sage. We talked about Nick Setta, the Lockport kicker, who is going to be a great kicker someday, perhaps in college. He's had some 50-yarders this year. Unfortunately, his football team lost last night, but he's here today nonetheless.
Well, it's an interesting double, to say the least. You usually see soccer players who try to do that and then go back and play with the soccer teams, but he's a real success story.
George Torres has the lead, but only slightly over Donald Sage. We're at 9:37, 9:38, 9:39. How's the pace here, Lee?
Oh, it's good. It's really solid. They're still in control. Earlier in the year, it was reported that George Torres had hoped to run 14 flat on this course. Sage may help him, or vice versa. Torres may push Sage.
Nathan Purcell, meantime, running in the top 10. He's having a good state final. George Torres, again, the slight lead. Mark Pilja hanging with him. This was a strategy a year ago as well with George. He ran out to the early lead and never looked back.
Well, and he's not done it yet today.
Juan Ortega is in 3rd. He's a junior from Morton. Pilja is in 4th place right now. In the meantime, Adam Wallace, we're told, is running 5th. And how about Onisimo Gareka, the senior from Kennedy? He's in the top 7 as well.
We've just passed the 2 1/4 mile mark. Both of these 2 young men continue to open up the lead.
And this looks like a great race here down to the finish. George Torres, he won the 1996 AA meet, ran 14:29 last year. He had a 4:50 pace. He was 2nd a couple years ago. He also won the Schaumburg sectional 2 years in a row. This year, in fact, Lee, Torres undefeated, 13-0. He won conference, regional, sectional, coached by Mark Saylor.
Well, he's just run an outstanding rate. He is very efficient at this point in time. Sage not ready to yield a step, however, as we approach the 2 1/2 mile mark.
In case you're wondering about the record, it's 13:50 set by Craig Virgin back in 1972. Right now we're at 11:44, 11:45, 11:46. Our leaders, Donald Sage, as well as George Torres. Sage was 24th last year. He won the East Aurora sectional. Sage out of the West Suburban Conference, ran 14:03 there, winning by 21 seconds. He also won the Palatine Invitational, beating John Burning by 13 seconds there. So we can see Donald Sage out of York and George Torres How about 3, 4, 5, and 6, Lee? What do you got?
It's tough to tell at this point. I'll tell you, it doesn't get any better than this, though, for the battle for the state title. I just heard Joe Newton yell at Don Sage, how bad do you want it? But I bet that George Torres is asking himself the same thing right now.
Nathan
Purcell
Purcell
it's going to go down to the wire, appears it could.
Towards the front. George Torres, a slight lead as he looks over his shoulder. Mark Pilja battling him awfully tough. Pilja, remember, was 4th last year. He was just 14 seconds behind George Torres. Right here, he's only a second behind, but George has increased his lead ever so slightly. Coming down the final turn right now. Here we go, the crowd really cheering for George Torres down the stretch. We're at 13:21, 13:22. George Torres has a lead. They're going for back-to-back state titles. Right there with him is Donald Sage. It looks as though Torres is going to win it. Adam Wallace, meantime, has moved into 3rd. Here's George Torres going for back-to-back state titles. Tim Bro did it in 93 and 94. Also, Pat Joyce out of Stevenson. He won it 2 years in a row as well in 91 and 92. It's all George Torres here, Lee. He's going to win it.
He waited at just the right point to try to pull away, but Donald Sage gave this a great race. Gave him a great run today.
14:05, 14:06. Last year he did 14:29. He's going to break his mark from last year. 14:12 unofficially for George Torres. 2nd place goes to Donald Sage. We're at 14:19, 14:20 unofficially. 3rd place, meantime, Adam Wallace out of Deerfield. Now Pilja and Ortega. Parcell and number 71 coming through is Burning. Ed Torres finishing. Then Cabral. And here's GENEVA. Bright. Van Slough. And you get the rest. The team competition awfully exciting as well. So here's how the boys AA results finish up in terms of the individual meet. Juan Ortega comes in 5th place. He was 19 seconds back. Mark Pilja takes 4th. He ran 14:43 last year and 14:32 this season. Adam Wallace was 22nd a year ago. He was outstanding this time around, coming in 3rd place. Donald Sage finishes 7 seconds off the pace. He was 24th a year ago. And the winner, once again, George Torres, the junior from Wheeling, his time 14:15. Last year he ran 14:29. George Torres, back-to-back IHSA winners. We talked to George about his victory.
First of all, you win again. You're dressing better finally.
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much.
What do you think going into this race? Is there more pressure being the favorite?
There is a lot of pressure being a favorite. It's people will expect more from you when you're the defending state champion, and I learned how to deal with it, I guess, this year.
Well, Donald pushed you pretty good.
Well, Donald's a great competitor. Like I said at the press conference, he's a guy who's going to be around, and he's going to be pushing me for many years to come, especially in college.
So here's how the boys AA team results wind up. Naperville Central comes in 5th place. Lincoln Way takes 4th. Wheeling 3rd place. They get a trophy. Elmhurst York, Joe Newton bidding for his 20th state title. He winds up just 1 point shy of Lockport. Lockport wins it 134 to 135. They had 3 in the top 19, also 4 runners in the top 26. And they beat York by 1 point. Afterwards, we talked to head coach Larry Thompson.
Someone's smiling because it was pretty close, 134, 135.
It was very close. It was very close. Our 5th runner, Jerry Giskerny, who just moved into that position about a month ago, didn't run his best race, but he finished off, and he finished 90th, which turned out to be 63 for his team place. And then Nick finished strong. He was in the 20s or so down the bottom of the hill, and then able to finish in 19th place. Those, you know, that and Greg Targos finishing 15th was a great boost for us. He's a junior also, and he'll be back next year.
Back to back, you're getting used to this now. I know Joe Newton's got about, what, 19 of them. You're only 17 away.
Just to get the first one was unreal, and the second one is still a dream. It'll be a dream all night long. Mr. Newton's a great coach. It's a great program. Just to have a chance to, just me and him having that conversation before we found out who won was awesome in itself. Back-to-back, that's something the kids thought of as soon as after last year. They thought they had a chance. They really wanted to try to do that because no one from our area has done that since Bloom, 1974-75, so it was something to shoot for.
And we're back here at Detweiler Park. Mark Pinsky with Lee Hallberg. And Lee, it's been an exciting day. We saw some great individual races, also some outstanding team competition.
We want to congratulate all the individual champions as well as the teams that ran so well here today. It's always a great opportunity. I just loved being here.
In fact, all three defending champions came back and indeed defended their crown. Rebecca Mitchell, Elena Chrisman, also George Torres. In fact, George will be back here next year, as will Rebecca.
Well, it should be interesting. It's going to be tough to imagine that anybody will challenge them, but I don't doubt that in Illinois cross country, somebody will step up and be ready to do that.
We congratulate Ryan Young as well. That'll wrap it up from here. Lee, been fun. Great working with you this year.
Thank you, Mark. I've enjoyed it.
That'll do it from Detweiler Park here in Peoria. The executive producer on Sports Channel is Tom Ordover. Today's event has been produced by Bob Albrecht. The coordinated producer is Bulldog Turner. Special thanks to the host cross-country coach from Peoria High School, Mike Lawless, and his entire staff. The preceding has been a co-production of Intersport and Sports Channel.